Without further ado, let's talk about fall transition, largemouth bass fishing.
It's fun.
Is it? Is it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It can be.
Right.
Sometimes it can be really tough. Sometimes it can be really good. It all depends on pretty much the weather for that day. I think most of our luck has really been coming when there is, just like normal, like wind helps a lot. When you have that warm rain coming in, working inlets and stuff like that, because it brings a bunch of stuff out of the streams, out of the rivers, into the lake. It's just pushing all that nutrients in where all smaller organisms gather, the small bait fish gather, which means the bass are going to come up and eat those bait fish, and they're feeding really hard. They're trying to fatten up for the winter and before they move super deep and pretty much bury themselves in the bottom, which in a later episode we will definitely get into. What is your favorite bait to use during the fall transition?
Ooh, well, thank you very much for asking. I'm in fact glad that you asked, because this is something I gave a lot of thought about. And this is something I also don't want to put too much into, because if you want, we're going to like lightly touch upon tackle and techniques, because it is important, but we're going to talk about more from a broad sense. If you want like specifics on all these, we've already done 2 videos, one for largemouth, one for smallmouth in previous live streams. We even did 2 short, like condensed versions of that for regular uploads. So I implore you to go back and take a look at those. My favorite bait, though, if we're talking about fall transition, is without a shadow of a doubt bladed jig, and specifically the Z-Man Evergreen Jackhammer. I want to cover water. I want to be able to fish that around heavy structure, like hard structure, vegetation, scanning flats. I mean, bounce off of rocks, you name it. That is, to me, my best, highest confidence.
I have to say,
do-all chasing bait.
Best 2 baits.
Best 2 baits.
Because I know it's going to be at least 2.
Jig. I'm going to fish 2 big things. I want one moving so I can cover water and figure out what they are. And as much as I love a spinnerbait, bladed jig has absolutely outperformed it the last 3 years. If you look at the whole body of what I've done over the last 15 years, it should absolutely be a spinnerbait, no questions asked. But recency bias, I'm going to give it over to the jackhammer.
You did get a couple this weekend on it, though.
I did.
And that one that straightened it out.
I squeaked. My voice is really hurting here. Yeah, there was I did get a couple on the spinnerbait. Yeah, nothing big though. Well, no, I take that back. I did squeaked again. There was like a 3-pounder on that Strike King tour grade spinnerbait. That was nice. That was like a little black crappie kind of looking pattern, which
that was nice.
We got it. I don't know how long ago. That was the first time I picked it up. I was like, hell yeah, that looks good. And he was like, yeah, that does look good. And it didn't take me long. I put a couple in the boat, but then bladed jig and jig. Because that bladed jig, you can just cover water so effectively. And more importantly, cover the right kind of water that I want to be looking at. When we're talking about that fall transition, one of the big things that I like to focus on in especially kettle ponds, and we're going to differentiate a little bit between two different bodies of water, where you've got your standard New England pond, which we call kettle ponds, which is usually pretty small, like 150-ish acres or less. Relatively uniform depth contours. Like you've got maybe some banks where they drop off kind of steep, but other than that, the whole middle is damn near even the whole way across with very, very little fluctuation. Like that, to me, is a typical kettle pond.
A pond where the old timers are like, oh yeah, that spot over there, yeah. That's where they all are.
Yeah. But with those, you usually get a ton of different vegetation. You've got your pond cabbage, you've got milfoil, lily pads, like the whole 9 yards. And as we get these colder nights, and especially that first frost, a lot of that starts to die off and wilt, but not completely die. So the fish move away from it. They move back to it a little bit. The perch, the bait fish, they're kind of moving in and out of it. It is still a player even when it looks like death. And I've proven that I don't even know how many hundreds of times over the last 10 years. It is by far one of the most consistent things to do, but my favorite way to attack that is with a bladed jig. You can fish it just straight retrieve, do nothing with it. You can work kind of like a lipless, where you want to basically just kind of like pulse it as it's going by, make it super erratic. Same thing we've talked about a lot in the spring for how we fish it. You can get it down in the vegetation and like intentionally try and get it stuck and snap it free, go for that reaction bite. And if you're working kind of like open sandy bottom or rocks, you could work it almost like a jig or like a blade bait. Get it down the bottom and just kind of like pop it off the bottom, pause, pop it off the bottom, slow roll it, and just dig it across like a square bill. Like, it is so versatile for what you can do with that. But my favorite thing is just covering water around vegetation and keeping it just low and slow enough to just tick top off of everything. Did you just do... Oh.
Well, my favorite two baits.
You asked, I told.
I mean, yeah, either bladed jig. I don't know. I mean, glide and jig pretty much are my two favorite baits of all time now. I mean, that's just, I will throw it because those fish are going to be eating pretty much anything that comes in front of them right now. If you can get their attention and they're hungry, they're most likely going to eat whatever the hell you throw in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I like throwing the glides. I mean, a lot bigger than this, but this thing coming in front of a hungry bass that's just kind of like sitting there waiting to pounce, it's going to eat it. It's going to hit it. And if it doesn't, it's going to follow it, and then you kind of have to entice it to eat it. But jig is... What?
So Logan Elliott just chimed in, spinnerbaits are cheaper than jackhammers and work just fine. In previous years, yes. For some reason, man, I am struggling with the spinnerbait. Jackhammers are doing great, though. Sorry, I got you off track.
Yeah, I got distracted, sorry. And jigs just work. There's my two baits. Oh, geez, we already have that many people in there?
Yeah, I'm like trying to keep up with... Derek, I saw your message. No, but very, very close to there.
I saw a question from...
Oh, Jesus.
Where is it?
Man, I can't keep up with this. Hang on.
South Jersey.
Oh, wait, whoa. I'll pin it. Ah, Jesus. South Jersey. It's flat sides? That one?
Yeah, that one.
How much do you use flat sides in the fall time, or do you prefer jerkbaits? So here's the thing. I don't think either one of us own any flat sides.
I did.
Did you?
I had one. I had no idea what the hell it was. I bought it, thought it was wonky, found out. And I actually caught a couple fish on it. I thought it was just like a normal like crankbait, whatever. And then it became a thing where everyone's like, oh, flat sides, flat sides, flat sides. I'm like, oh, I have one of those ones. So, no, I don't really ever throw flat sides. I prefer jerkbait. I feel like I just have more control of the action. And I just like throwing jerkbaits and catching fish on jerkbaits. So I will throw a jerkbait until we get more flat sides or just flat sides in general and start catching fish on them. But as of right now, jerkbait for sure.
Oh God, I'm.
How do you pin things?
Hold on. Hold it.
Oh, you have to do it on that screen.
We are managing multiple screens here, and it's
like
going terrible.
17 different screens. You can just
go
put
ahead.
that up like that. How do you do this?
I'm just trying to log in. I got way more things here going on for the raffle than I
just hit
anticipated.
that?
Yeah, you can just hit it and it'll show right up.
Oh,
Give it a
there it
second.
is.
Are you guys still holding off on the blade baits for now?
So, yes. I don't know. There's something about blade baits I just don't. I know they work. Everybody uses them. They go out deep for smallies, and there's so many other baits that I'd rather throw than a blade bait.
Yeah.
Because at this point now, I'm picking up big spoon, and I'd rather throw the big spoon instead of a blade bait.
Here's the thing about pretty much 99% of my approach. No, less than that. 90% of my approach. I had that right the first time. 99% of my approach, 90% of his approach. We go with the tools that we think are the most successful in that window. Like, would it be nice to make certain things work? Hell yeah. Do we experiment with different things? Absolutely. Do we force things? Not that often. And while I do know blade bait does work for some people, I've heard enough people talk about how well it can be even right now in this time of the year. I don't have the confidence in it that I feel like throwing it until the water hits at least mid 40s, like mid to upper 40s, like 47 degrees is about the starting point where I'm like, okay, I know I can reliably throw this confidently and most likely get bit. But over 50 degrees, I've tried it. and it really hasn't panned out. There's plenty of other things that work better for me. And I'm getting there. But no, right now, no.
He's going to pick it up well before I will.
Truth.
And then as soon as he catches like 4 or 5 fish, and I'm just like, oh, what the hell? I only have one on a jig. All right, give me that freaking thing. It happens every time, almost every time we go out. Either I start catching him on something, he's like, all right, give me that thing. Or he'll start catching him on something, and I do the same thing. I'll pick up, and we'll just both start hammering him.
Yep. We're answering a lot more questions than we are talking about this, but that's fine. I'd rather answer questions than us just continue to talk about things that we've probably already talked about a dozen different times. I've done to that. So from Mike, can you touch on how you like to fish that hybrid hustler jig from Beast Coast Fishing? Swim, drag, twitch, all of the above. You can speak to that just as well as I can. So I'm going to let you take that while I continue to add in things.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was trying to hold back a cough, but it came out anyway. Can you touch on how you like to fish the hybrid hustler, swim, drag, twitch, all of the above? I love... Can I give the juice? It's the juice. It's everybody does it. It's anyway, fine. So I love throwing like a small Kitech or just a small swim bait on the back. Contrasting colors. Like I always like going with natural colors. I never usually stray out and go to like some crazy chartreuse or like crazy orange or anything like that. I keep it simple. I keep it natural. Dirt bag, mainly dirt bag or just straight black. And I throw, the green pumpkin one too, but I forget the name of that one. But I throw Hustler with a small swim bait, and I just bomb. If we're fishing like a steep bank, I will throw that into probably around 10 foot of water, and I'll drag it. I will try to get that thing to not come off the bottom. Just drag it and working it around everything, because that's imitating the crayfish or like some small bait fish just kind of hunkered down the rocks. And you're just dragging it. That fish will follow it. I've seen them follow it before, and it takes them a little while to actually commit to it, but then they do, and it's usually, I mean, we've caught some pretty good fish on that tiny little jig. I mean, it won us a tournament.
Yeah, you probably had a little over 12 pounds on 4 smallmouth just on that jig. And then we ended up culling up to like 13 and a quarter, I think. But, what the hell was it? A jerkbait and then weightless T-rig fluke. Late in the day, we gave us kind of like 2 last-minute culls that knocked out 2 of those other ones. But 2 biggest fish of the day were 2 4-pound smallmouth you caught on that. Mm-hmm. How many 5-pound largemouth have we caught on that? I've got several myself.
I don't know if I've caught a 5-pound largemouth on that. Because I mainly I don't usually throw it when I go for largemouth. I usually throw it when I go for smallies. I usually go for largemouth. I usually go for a bigger presentation, like the open water sniper or just some bigger full bodied jig, pretty much just to get their attention and make them eat it. But the hustler, I've swam it like across the bottom, like just off the bottom, swimming across the bottom. I have popped it a bunch of times just to get that reaction bite in the fall. Drag it, but by far, just like short, quick drags. Just every 5 to 10 seconds, drag. You just wait for the bite, Then no bite, okay, boom. Oh, you feel a rock. Okay, wait. Climb up over that rock or skirts around the rock. Never trying to pop it up over the rock. Unless you're stuck on it and the fish comes and takes it off the rock like him.
It happens all the
time. I don't understand why I can't have that happen.
You know what? No, you're not allowed to say a word to me about that one thing, because I will happily trade you my ability to have fish pull me out from being snagged on the rock. Mind you, this is like 20 minutes of pure stuck. 20 minutes, 20 seconds of just like, it's not coming out. And I'll get smoked off of it. I will gladly trade you that for your ability to catch fish that are 6.5 pounds and bigger.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, so shut your mouth.
But hustler, absolutely. Throw a small swim bait on that. Take your time on the bottom. Don't rush it. That's really all I can say about it. There's really not much to it, just besides just short drags.
Yep, I got him.
Dude, there's so many people want this.
Yeah, and that's just that's just PayPal. Sorry, I had to go upstairs because my cell service in town lately has been absolutely abysmal. And I'm like trying to keep up with this, but like I couldn't even get a code to log into PayPal because there was too many notifications coming in too fast. I was panic. Alec, thank you. Hang on, let me type in 2 more really quick. But in the meantime, and then I can return my attention to this. He did 2.
Yeah, Alex, I'm finding the same thing. He says that the jerkbaits bite just has not been there this year so far.
Thank you.
It hasn't.
It has been abysmal.
That probably didn't help at all, did it?
No. That's fine. Everything's fine.
But no. We have gone out to some smaller kettle ponds for largies in the past couple weeks, and just the jerkbait, just the areas that we would fish them in, usually they have fish. The fish are there. Like, we know they're there. We know the bait fish are there, but they're just not committing to it.
No.
So we've caught like a couple really small bass on it, and that was really about it.
With literally the only exception I could think of was during our tournament, day 1. First fish of the day that I caught ended up being like a 2.5 pound largie on a jerkbait. Mm-hmm. And then you stuck that other 2.5 on the jig. But aside from that, yeah, like we're in areas that we're seeing the fish stacked up right. We're seeing the bait fish stacked up right. Like literally all the conditions, water temp, weather, like you name it. Everything you would think of that's like, yeah, this is going to be great for a jerkbait. And they just simply won't touch it. And we literally went out one day and worked an area hard for between 2 separate, like half an hour between the both, half an hour first time, half an hour second time. Nothing. You got one little rat and that was it. Mm-hmm. But in the moment we picked up something else, like jig or whatever, like started crushing them. So we knew they're in the area, just for whatever reason, they're not on that jerkbait bite in a lot of areas that typically, like, this is the time for that to shine. So it's been kind of weird. Yeah. I guess one, yeah, MD, you guys are going to need an assistant. Yes. It's getting out of hand. So I don't know if one of the things we really talked about, let's talk about movement in greater detail. I know you kind of touched upon it lightly at the beginning, but I want to go deeper dive into that. So when we're talking kettle ponds, vegetation in the summer is usually like your go-to ticket, right? Like that's really hard to beat. Bait fish are buried up in it. The bass are buried up in it. They're trying to get out of the hot sun, and it works. But what happens as soon as we get that colder weather, it starts dying off. What do the fish do? There is a period where they'll abandon that. And it really depends. There's some lakes where like they're just straight up gone out of it and I can't get bitten them. And there's other lakes where it's like just a couple of week window at max and then they're right back in there. So it's going to vary lake by lake, and the only way you can verify this is through time in the water, which really, literally everything we've ever said, you're never going to be able to do or figure out and make work for you and your style without time in the water. So there's that. But because of all the years of experience we have on a handful of select kettle ponds that are just different enough that to me they're uniquely very, very different, when in reality they're actually pretty close to each other, we've been able to kind of figure out like which ones are more reliable for that vegetation bite and which ones aren't. So back to the beginning, right? Vegetation, whether it be milfoil or whatever, a lot of cases tends to be milfoil around here. Pond cabbage, lily pads, that like long, thin, stringy green weed that I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head at the moment.
The good stuff.
The really good stuff. We get those first few cold nights, it all starts to wilt. What is the next step from there? Where should you be looking for bass? Hard structure. Full stop. That can be anything. I prefer to fish rocks because it's always there. It's always consistent. The fish can rely on it. It never changes, never moves.
Unless it gets covered up by something.
Like a downed tree, per se? Per se. Second to the rocks would be timber. Timber I like better, especially if we're talking this time of the year, right? And now we're getting down into below freezing at night or near enough to it. A lot of 40 and 50 degree days. So everything's coming down. Water temps getting closer to 50 and upper 40s. And the fish are going to be kind of all over the place, especially if it was cloudy days on that stretch. And then all of a sudden you get 3 or 4 straight days of really good sunlight. Or even at the tail end of a cloudy stretch, that first sunny day, it's like dead calm. The sun is beating down really hard. We got a good UV index. timber is your best friend because timber will absorb warmth much faster than anything else. And especially if you can find timber, say like on a steep bank, if it's overhanging some slightly deeper water, deeper being relative to whatever that body of water is, 6 feet might be deep in a lake. You know, for a kettle pond, that average depth is 8 feet, 6 is deep. So there's something like that to consider. But rocks, and that can be either rocky points, rock piles, isolated boulders, isolated little patches of rock. It could be like isolated patches of that 50-50 mix of like kind of clean hard bottom and some riprap, you know, like fist-sized pebbles. Like those are always going to be deadly consistent this time of the year.
In springs.
And yeah, absolutely in the spring. And that's the thing. Like a lot of these spots you can find in the fall are the same things that you would find back in the spring too. They're just kind of coming full circle back to those transition areas before they start set up for winter. Like in the spring when they're finding that transition area where they're coming out of winter. So you're kind of doing the same thing. You're just doing it in reverse. Instead of going from in the spring from the deeper winter haunts to the rocks to the veggies, you're going from the veggies to the rocks to the deeper winter haunts. So, but the caveat with that, in the spring, the yellow perch, which is why we're giving this guy away, which, by the way, you have 10 more minutes, $5 an entry, Venmo, PayPal, everything's pinned there in the comments. $5 a raffle, you get this and the rainbow trout color. Yellow perch is kind of the difference maker when you're talking about spring versus fall, because in the spring, they spawn, so they move up shallower. In the fall, they tend to move deeper. And yellow perch are so abundant all over the north, like it's insane. So it's a really easy thing to try and target and replicate when the fish are feeding up on them, which is more often than not. So when you're talking the fall, that vegetation, as it's dying off, has been so deadly consistent for us. And where I really like to look is the deepest possible parts of that pond where the vegetation is just starting to tail off. There's something about that transitional area, even with the vegetation dying off, that the perch like to hold up to. And the bass just kind of roam around, bombing in and out of those schools wherever they tend to be. That is key. On the flip side of that, depending upon weather conditions and stuff, year of the young. So all the bait fish that spawned this spring all decided to start moving up shallower. Whether they're moving up on their own or the bass are pushing them up and trying to keep them pinned, doesn't matter. Sometimes getting up inside that shallow stuff, you'll see little baby bluegill, sometimes little baby perch even. They'll be up there, really shallow. It goes back to a previous point we've made multiple times. This is where you need to be willing to cover a lot of water and look from the bank out into the middle. And that's doubly so for these kettle ponds, which most people like to target this time of the year because it's usually your best chance at sticking a giant right now, right? Spring and spring and fall. Fall transition is always a good one. So
less water to cover to find those bigger fish.
Yep.
Instead of going to big, deep glacial lakes and being like, well, okay, where the hell do I start?
Yeah, you condensed your search, so it's nice. So as far as where we're looking, that was kind of the bigger, broader picture of where we're looking this fall transition. Places that that had really, really good thick vegetation in the summer that is starting to die off and wilt off, if you know where that breaking line is out to slightly deeper water, that is an area that we focus on. And we've been back now 3 times over the last 4 weeks to this one particular kettle pond close to home, and we have either cracked them up shallow in this one particular pocket that's a little bit shallower than everything else, but is also immediately adjacent to one of the deeper holes in the body of water. 2 other specific points, and then the 2 steepest, clearest, rockiest points in the lake. There's also 2 little stretches of shoreline where there are big isolated boulders, and we'll say at the bottom of the steep bank. And then there's this one large area with a ton of vegetation, and we know exactly where that weed line ends. Mm-hmm. Guess where we've caught every single fish? In all 4 of those areas. Mm-hmm. Because it's just deadly consistent. We know what's in there. That helps. Tons of bluegill, tons of yellow perch. Bluegill moving up shallow, we've caught them up there. 10-inch glide, depth's 250 for Andrew. He's already got a couple of good fish up in that super shallow area that's also adjacent to the deep pocket. Jigs on those isolated rocks piles, on those isolated boulders. That's been catching giants in the spring and the fall, but especially in the fall. I just stuck that 6-pounder off of an isolated boulder near a steep bank. And then those 2 other areas where we've been seeing either short windows of really good consistency or even moderate consistency is that slightly deeper vegetation where all the yellow perch are. And we know that we're in the area of perch because all of a sudden you feel like what feels like a just violent little hit, but it's not really that violent. It's more quick. And then all of a sudden you're pulling up a yellow perch a couple of casts later. It's like, okay, if you get into the yellow perch, you're in the right spot. That should be enough to give you confidence when you're fishing offshore on these smaller kettle ponds.
And if you see bait boiling out in the middle, you start seeing bait balls. That's either the fish are all feeding at once, like the bait fish, or they're getting pushed to the surface because there's bigger fish below them blowing them up. And also watch for birds. If there's seagulls or any sort of bird of prey around that pond, just keep an eye out, make sure they're just flying over and they're not actually coming down and diving on fish.
Yep. Bigger bodies of water where smelt are more present, seagulls can be your best friends. They will tell you where the schools of smelt are roaming. We've seen that too many times. I'm not sure about ducks. We see plenty of ducks. We see them feeding a little bit, but I'm not sure that's really reliable. But loons, absolutely. Those have always been some of the best fish finders. Now, whether or not they always scare the fish away too, that's it can go either way. But at least if you can see which way they're going, and especially if they're hanging out in a very particular area of the lake for a very long period of time, that usually what we've found means that there is a ton of bait in a relatively condensed area. So fishing around that area can be very beneficial for you. Nature can help you. Just got to keep your eyes open and understand what it is that you're seeing.
For shizzle.
I just need to see if I can also... I'm having like a real hard time here with internet.
Yeah, my internet's been junk all day today too.
Well, just, I mean,
at work.
Cell service in general too, just...
What's going on, New Hampshire?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Do I have cell service right now? I do, so...
You do?
There we go. Oh,
I don't get it in Milford at all anymore.
what the hell?
Like, literally nothing. Ever.
I don't know where I just typed that, like elsewhere. Nowhere. Good. Yeah. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else. I got Alec and Danny and Kevin. Alec. Wait. Yep, Alec.
Alec's in there. Kevin's in there.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else that had gotten in on the raffle for the 2 bait Sanity Explorers. Yeah, I know. Now my phone's blowing up like, oh my God, did you log in from another device? Security setup
Somebody has their password.
On point, friends. We don't screw around with this. I did see something. Yes, I want to talk about this too. So for other baits, and it's something we lightly touched upon with the other like top 5 fall baits, right? MD. Red eye shads have such a nice fall. Totally changed my confidence in rattle trap baits. I feel like it's still a smidgen early. Squarebill is definitely getting bit much more often than lipless, but I'm still tossing the hell out of lipless because when that bite goes off, it is magical. But
yeah, remember that time we went down to, where the hell were we? Somewhere down in Mass, a teeny tiny little pond. We drove like 3 hours to go to this like 100-acre lake, 100-acre pond.
Like 30-acre pond.
You think it was that small?
Dude, it was tiny. Not only that, the average depth was like 4 feet. And we
drove
waxed
like
them.
3.5 hours to this tiny little pond, and it was fun.
First trip out of the year, first weekend of March. We waxed them on that 3/4 ounce of red eye lipless, 20-pound line, 7.2 heavy rods.
That and jerkbaits.
Yep,
just absolutely crushed them. It was sick.
It worked. There's something about that. They wanted the heavier thing where it hit and it just like straight down, and you had to rip it out of whatever vegetation was in there violently, and they would just stop it dead. That was fun.
I caught more pickerel than bass that day, but still it was fun.
This is South Jersey. Once you get into JDM traps, you get sucked in, and I've had a lot of success with silent traps or very quiet ones also. The older rattle traps work well for me too. Those older rattle traps, like the original rattle traps, are still phenomenal.
I still have one.
I have a lot. I have a bunch, especially for the spring, that like red craw with some good Gamakatsu hooks on them. Love it. But I don't have that many silent ones, and that's actually something I'd like to look into. Adam Wood, Loons of the 90s version of Live Scope. Yep.
Or the poor version.
Yeah. Mass Reel. Found an amazing area where the fish had alewives pushed up in 5 to 10 feet because seagulls were circling. That's awesome. See, it's amazing when you just kind of pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings and how much Mother Nature's already just trying to help you out with what's going on around you. Pay attention to that and take advantage of it. We've talked a lot about kettle ponds for these largemouth, right? Well, how much does our approach differentiate when we're talking about bigger, deeper glacial lakes where there might not be as much vegetation, or at least if there is, it's harder to find. Now you're talking about a lot more just harder structure. For that, steep transitions, backs of coves. Those, I mean, we don't do a ton of fishing up there, so I'm not going to speak about it too much because our experience is definitely limited. And most of the time this late in the year anyway, we've been looking for smallmouth traditionally. We've only recently okay, let's try and get a giant largemouth again. But that's always paid off really, really well. You know, you're talking about if you've got deeper areas of for largemouth, like 40 to 60 feet, they still might be out there and out off of not necessarily on steep banks, but maybe out roaming flats near it. And they might not be in the bottom. They might be suspended like 5 to 10 feet off the bottom. Kind of roaming those areas, working bigger bait, whether it be trout or big yellow perch, or white perch, big smelt, like whatever they have available to them. But as the days start to get colder, they also can just as easily move into the back of shallower bodies of water and chase those year of the young. Like that's another big thing. Now you're talking maybe, well, it really depends on water temp, really. But I can think of an instance last year at a big, deep glacial lake, beginning of October. Like all of a sudden in 5 days, it went from like nothing up shallow to the shallows were covered in year of the young. It's just, a bunch of like 2 and 3 inch to maybe even 4 inch bait fish. Mm-hmm. And all those largemouth just followed them in droves. And it went from being a deep water smallmouth, like smash fest, right, for everybody. And then 5 days later, all the top teams were up shallow, just hammered on largemouth all day. So it can change drastically. And that's not to mean you still can't get them out deep, but now you have more options. But you got to be, I'm going to keep saying this, you have to be willing to be able to check everything from the bank out to 50 feet because you just don't know what's going to happen day to day. The patterns of largemouth this time of the year on bigger, deeper bodies of water, at least from my experience, can be just as sporadic as the weather that we face here in the Northeast. So you have to keep an open mind.
Yeah, there's been more days in the fall that have gone with getting skunked, really. Just because I'm not fishing either the right pace, like right cadence, or just the right body of water, really. Like if that whole entire body of water is completely shut off, you're not catching anything.
Truth.
Like if you're, say it's consistent weather, 40s, 50s all week long, and then you get into a day where it's 70 degrees, you can do one of two things. It can completely turn them on, or it's going to completely shut them off. You might get a couple, but you might not get anything at all. It can be tough this time of year, for sure.
Yep.
Especially when the temps could be dropping down in the 20s at night and coming up to 70s in the day. Like it did last week.
Yeah. It keeps you on your toes. I mean, we were a month ago on the cusp of like, okay, everything's starting to shift away from, in the largemouth case specifically, super, super shallow to like that next transitional point, which was just off that breaking edge towards deeper water or just on the very outside edge of the deepest part of the shallow vegetation. And that depth can vary wildly. And then 2 weeks later, everything's back up stupid shallow. But at the same time, because that transition already started, some fish like to be deeper. Some of them have moved out way deep. But now they're being fickle because they're like, I'm out here, I don't want to move, but it just doesn't feel right.
It's like fishing an area of a lake that has pre-spawn and post-spawn fish all at the same time.
Yeah.
But they don't want to eat.
Right? Nope, nothing else. All right.
No, that's it.
That's it.
The
Let's
last
do,
one?
that is.
We are 2 minutes past.
3 minutes past. All
God,
right, let's do
math.
Le Raffle. All right, so waffle. We're doing the waffle.
Here we go.
God, dude, this is so much easier with these two screens, and they're actually like the correct format and everything.
And they're huge.
Glorious. Okay, so I have everybody in here that did their raffle, they paid in for it. Thank you very much to those that did that. Greatly appreciate what you guys do for us. We're glad that we can give back in some way, shape, or form. Everybody's in here near enough to the order that I got them in, but more importantly, for the number of entries they have in that order, now shuffle. I like to show that so that people see that like I didn't.
Oh, Chad has got 3 in a row.
Oh,
What
he
a
texts me. He's like,
jank.
I'm putting in 5. If I don't win this time, I quit. Click the spin. Let's see what we get.
Oh, bye, Chad.
Oh, bye, Chad. Oh, where's it gonna? Whoa! By a hair.
Well,
Alec, congrats.
congratulations. God, you
You're
know, all
okay.
sorts of prizes in the last few weeks.
Proud of you.
You got married. You went to Aruba. You got 2 free glide baits. Not free, but you got glide baits.
I'm waiting for the text from Chad. Damn it! Sorry, Chad. Alec, send me a message. Give me your address. I don't care where you send it to me, and we'll make sure we get these out to you tomorrow.
Sub removed on me.
So,
That's better. This is better than married.
you were just in Aruba for a week. You shush. I guess that has nothing to do with the marriage. Huh?
Aruba's amazing.
I would like to
love
go at
to
some
go
point
back.
in my life. I'm trying to think, like, what else did we not cover for fall transition, largemouth, for the way we attack them? This is a good point where you guys come in with more questions for us that we can more specifically answer.
Harpoons help.
Harpoons do help. If you have any spare, like, chicken wire fence, a couple of cables, car batteries, like that's probably one of the best ways to do it.
You want at least
Oddly enough,
5
still
rods
not as
going
easy
out,
as
though.
bed fishing in the spring for smallmouth, but it's close. I saw a video from a pro that
Dog?
was,
Is that your dog?
No, that was my belly shifting.
Oh, I thought it was your dog.
Nope.
Oh, mine did it too. That's weird. You're getting me hungry.
I saw a video from a pro on the MLF side that was out bed fishing for smallmouth, and he put his kid's little like binky cut up on a hook. He's like, I wonder if this bedding smallmouth will eat it.
Of course it did.
And I was like, shut that off. It's like, it's a bedding smallmouth. It will literally eat
A bear
anything,
hook.
a bear hook, because it doesn't eat. It picks and moves.
It's
Picks
pissed.
and moves.
It doesn't want anything else on his bed, touching their eggs or touching anything on that bed. They just come down and they pick it up, go off, and spit it out. That's all they do.
I have no problem in the world if anybody wants to bed fish. Not a problem with it in the world. If you've never done it, God, you got to do it because it's about the funnest thing you'll do. It's also the easiest thing that you do. And the only thing that bothers me about it is when any angler of any skill level does it, understanding how easy it is, and then pretends like what they're doing is challenging. Shut the fuck up. You're an idiot. What you're doing is not challenging. You're just a dumbass.
Bam!
How many videos have we posted where it would literally was just bear hook, drop it down. The fish is like, again, oh, I don't want this here. I'm going to remove it. Not like, oh my God, that's the wildest shit I've ever seen. I need to eat that.
What is that, bent metal?
Oh, what's...
Wait, you have a... Oh, I have that. No, just kidding.
Come on, I'm waiting for that to show up over here so I can pin it. I could use another Japan trout depths 250. Lost one Sunday after catching a 5-pound largemouth and 2 striper over 20 pounds. That sucks, dude. I'm sorry.
Damn, that's a good striper.
I finally got my first depths 250.
I gotta ask you real
buddy
quick.
Brian.
When you're fishing them for stripers, how fast are you reeling? I'm guessing you're reeling them pretty damn fast. Just kind of constant, just cranking the shit out of it, or I don't know. I want to know because I do want to use it down when we go down for stripers.
Should we do that this weekend? No, we should go to our largie spot.
Yeah,
We gotta. That's yeah. Do I want to catch striper? Yeah, but I
we got like another month before we can go down there.
I still am
Before we
looking
have to go
for
down there.
at least a 7-pound largemouth this year, man. I 8 pounds has been our goal all
damn, I've
year,
been
but
so
at least
close.
a 7. Must be nice.
It is, but it's not because it's a freaking tease. I don't.
So it's funny because our PBs are almost identical. His 7 pounds 7 ounces, mine's 7 pounds 5 ounces, and I've only caught 5 fish in my life over 6 pounds. I cannot begin to tell you how many 5+ pounders I've caught. Strictly largemouth now when we're talking about this. I think I've caught a half dozen or more that went 5 pounds 15 ounces, and then probably another dozen or more 5 pounds 14 ounces. But trying to cross that 6-pound mark has been tough. And funnily enough, I'd think about this. All 4 of my 6-pounders, 2 of them were exactly 6 pounds 2 ounces, and the other 2 were almost exactly 6 pounds, 4 ounces. 6.13, 6.13, 6.25, 6.26. And then my PB at 7 pounds, 5 ounces.
3 of them came out of the same pond, which is beyond me.
3 of them, same pond. Granted, 12 years apart from the first one to the second 2. But the second 2 came from almost the exact same spot. Like maybe 80 feet apart from where I caught the one in the spring to where I caught this one this past Sunday, which is pretty funny. And now all of his 6-pounders are 6.5, 6.75, 6.75, 6.10, 6.5, and that's just like this last year.
I don't really want to tell you. I'm not really doing much different.
There you go. He's Lizard Owl says he goes real slow for stripers.
Real slow, really.
Oh, sorry. He did respond to you.
Pretty
Raffle
slow.
tickets didn't work. I get a refund.
Okay, cool.
Master Wheel. Same for me with 5-pounders. So many of them, but only 2 over 6 for me. All right. I feel bad, but you make me feel better. Dude, it's like, it's hard enough as it is, right? Like, this is why I wanted to bring up this topic, because like now is one of the best times of the year, just like early in the spring, to catch these bigger largemouth. And we've been fortunate enough to be able to go out there and prove that multiple times over here the last several years. But this fall transition period just refuses to go away because Mother Nature is all over the place. So we didn't really want to talk about the fall transition because it's typically a lot shorter, but it is lasting 2 to 3 times longer than normal this year, which is why I want to touch upon it, because it's still going to keep going. I'm confident even through this weekend. So it made sense to bring this back up again. Honestly, it could go either way. It could either be just the same and an absolute nightmare this weekend because this warm rain that we're having, and I'm not sure how much of the north is going to get that, not just the northeast, or it could fire them right the hell up. Just be prepared for one or the other. We are probably 2 weeks away from like that deadly consistent, albeit slower, but more consistent and reliable and like makes sense approach for like just lights out good fall fishing. And then that window is going to slam shut real fast, where only the most patient and slowest of anglers are going to be able to continue to succeed as we move forward here.
And dumbest for going out when it's negatives out.
Yeah, but when you're catching 5-pound smallies every weekend, it's like, how do you say no?
Yeah, true.
So it's tough, man. But that's why we want to bring this up. To hopefully kind of provide a little bit better insight as to how difficult it is, how versatile you need to be, how much water you need to still cover.
Yeah, versatile. Yes, you can either go from cracking a jerkbait 100 times in a mile an hour second. That made any sense at all? That made no sense to me. To literally dragging a jig for 2 to 3 minutes per cast. It can go either way. So you got to be anywhere in between there. And wish you the best of luck. Some of those magical days are in the fall and in the spring. And if you can get onto that bite, congratulations.
Damn right.
It's going to be a hell of a day.
MD, 10 pounds is a state record, New Hampshire largely. 10 pounds, 8 ounces, as it also is in Vermont. Maine, I think, is 11 pounds or something like that. It's pretty close. Massachusetts is a bit of an outlier at 15-something pounds. But when you talk about, like, Cape Cod area, totally different world. Like, their water stays not a lot warmer, but warmer at the right point to, I really think, makes a significant impact in the growth
down there
range.
That keeps that water. I mean, they're not saltwater bass, but I mean,
no, but it just, everything between lower elevation, constant wind coming off the ocean, just generally warmer down there in general. Everything just stays a touch warmer and for a much longer there than like even in the extreme ends of southern New Hampshire where we are. And we're lowlanders, right? We live in a friggin' valley. Flatlanders, whatever. It's suck. The same. But like when you're talking about like kind of peak growth rates, like when you get down to the Cape Cod area where that state record came from, it's enough of a difference down there that, yeah, it makes sense they get that 15-pounder. Then you've got, what the hell is it, the alewife run? No, shad run?
The herring?
Herring run. Bait fish run.
The bait fish run, yeah. Put on their Nikes and they just start running.
They have a phenomenal trout stocking. phenomenal trout stocking program down there. They have the herring run. There's like a lot more opportunities between bait present, the number of it, the quality of it, and then a longer growth season down there. That's why Massachusetts state record is quite a bit of an outlier. I am curious. I'd like to know what Rhode Island and Connecticut's is. Maine's, I'm pretty sure, is like 11 something. Yeah, for state record largemouth.
I don't know. I feel like Connecticut's somewhere in like the 12-pound range. 12 to 13-pound range.
I think you'd be right.
It's got to be. Excuse you. That's stripers.
Hold
That's
up.
got to be stripers.
You're talking. He's not talking about stripers.
He
already said above he caught 20-pound striper.
I'm going to take it as stripers. That's that's
you got a 9-pounder
really good.
largemouth this year.
Hell
I'm looking for the confirmation. Where is he? What's I heard? No, that wasn't it.
I believe him.
Oh, okay. Rhode Island is 10. New York is 11. Ryan Miller, 54 degrees surface temp on Lake Ontario. Damn. 10 pounds, 14. Oh, wow. Really? In New Jersey? It's like I thought for sure it'd be a couple pounds bigger. Mass state record came through the ice.
Just like New Hampshire.
G. Hayes, Connecticut's 14 pounds. No kidding. Brian, where I live in Rhode Island, the ponds never freeze, and if they do, they are rarely hard enough to stand on. Brian, we're coming down in January. What? Only state we haven't fished in yet in all of New England is Rhode Island.
Yeah, true.
Let's make that happen this winter. You want to come out fishing in the middle of winter, bud?
Just warm.
Come on, mouse. 12 pounds, 14 ounces for Connecticut. Oh, okay. Not 14 pounds. That's pretty good.
That was pretty close.
I do know about the controversy surrounding it because we know about it. Wow, dude. Yep. 6-inch Megabass Mag Draft Freestyle.
Nice, dude.
So that's what he got. I'm going to repin your comment because, dude, that is impressive. Congrats. That's a hell of a year. 9-1-8-6, 7-15, 7-8, 6-12. All of those.
Good on you, mate.
Those are your top 4. Any of those would be my PB. Your 5th smallest of your top 5 would be the second biggest fish I caught in my life by a wide margin. That's amazing. It has some hogs living around. I love it.
Record has a bit of controversy.
Yeah.
Really?
Oops, I didn't mean to actually pin that. Sorry. Oh, actually, I'll pin that. What the hell? Why not? Biggest striper this year is 40 pounds on a Megabass Megadog 220.
Where the hell are you fishing?
40-pounder on top water. That's insane. I got close to betting the New Jersey state record, but was a little shy. Wow. That's incredible. I think the state record smallmouth in New Jersey is pretty big.
It probably is. Who the hell just caught that 10-pound smallie on Erie?
It was a teacher. Older gentleman.
That thing was... That was big.
It was huge.
That was almost world record.
What? 7 pounds, 2 ounces Jersey? For some reason, I thought it was a lot bigger.
Still big friggin' smallmouth, though.
Yeah.
The bluegill is 3 pounds? Oh, wow.
Damn. Rock bass, 1 pound, 5 ounces. Ha! I tied that.
No, yours was 1 pound 6 because 1 pound 7, I think, is New Hampshire's.
No.
I'm pretty sure. Or you had 1.7.
I was 1 ounce shy of the state record. 13. That doesn't help me. New Hampshire, come on.
13.5-inch rock bass.
That was the only thing that mine didn't have was the friggin' length. She was thick, though.
Where are we at? Where are you?
Rock bass, 1 pound, 8 ounces. Oh my God,
so yours is
I had a 1 pound, 7 ounce rock bass 2 years ago. You're just like, I think you get a record. I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Not in this lake.
I don't want it. It's not the record I want. Beating, not betting. Sorry,
7
my bad.
pounds, 14.5 ounces. Smallmouth. Jeez, dude. I don't even...
The size of the bass I've seen in the Cape, the hang right, the outflow of the herring on to make you cry. Nearly impossible to catch, though, when they're sitting there extremely skittish. Oh, I'd believe that. I believe it in a heartbeat. Southwest Missouri, maybe Table. Oh, mainly Table Rock Bull Shoals. Yeah, you're on you're on a legendary body of water. That'll do it. That's
Southwest
awesome, man.
Missouri, yeah, dude. You're good. That's sick.
3 pounds is a whole lot of bluegill, buddy.
Be one hell of a taco.
Yeah, dude. What else? Yeah, I know smallmouth bass 7 pounds, 14.5 ounces. I always thought it was 15.4. But largemouth is
Celestia?
1967. There's also a lot of controversy around the New Hampshire state record largemouth, by the way. Same exact controversy that Massachusetts has. That's all I'll say. Leave it at that. All right, any other questions for you guys? Uh-oh. Do we miss one? Carla. Thank you, Carla. Donation without brownies or cookies.
Thanks, Mom.
I missed one from Chad. Alex sucks.
Alex, you don't suck. We like you.
How many do you see on hard structure, docks, etc. right now? I've caught some pretty okay fish off docks and structure this time of the year. Docks have been hit or miss, albeit the places that we fish, most of the docks are already gone. If it's a lake that has a lot, they usually pull them.
Feel like if you're gonna want to fish docks, if you want to fish docks this year, your best bet would fish wooden docks, like wooden post docks, not metal ones.
See, puppy.
What?
You heard me.
What the hell's a sea puppy?
See, puppy. Not puppy.
Pendejo.
Poppy. Pendejo. Ding, ding,
I don't even know what
ding,
that
ding,
means.
Ding, ding, ding. Pendejo. My brain is fried by stupid videos as much as anybody else.
My brain's fried because of stupid videos
Yep. Lots of stupid videos. Daily stupid videos.
all the time.
Yeah, I don't know, Chad. I would say vast majority of them are on hard structure. Vast majority of our success has been on hard structure. So one of the things I always want to stress is the difference. Just because my success, or our success really, because we're in the same boat, so we're targeting a lot of the same stuff, even though a lot of the time we try and set up the boat position so that we can hit multiple different kinds of structure, like in one cast, so someone can be up on those rocks and someone can be pitching out to the middle or out towards deeper grass or whatever. But the vast majority of our success has been on those rocks, that hard structure. Not to say that that is the ticket. That just works for us. In a number of different bodies of water, across all sorts of different weather conditions and quite a large range of water temp as we're going this late into the year, that hard structure is by far the most consistent thing that I've found. And this is like 15 years of consistency for us. So is it necessarily the answer? I can't say, because I haven't put that much time into other things as I have the hard structure, because I really haven't had to. The hard structure has been that good for us, and especially for big fish.
I was looking at that record page and the rainbow trout.
Oh, it's huge.
15 pounds, 7.2 ounces.
A half an inch shy of 3 feet long.
Oh my God.
96 too. That's actually pretty recent. State record pumpkin seed New Hampshire was caught in 2017. What's the most recent state record?
I saw 2015, 2016 right there. I saw one.
2020. That was channel catfish. Right there.
Yeah.
2022. Cusk. Forgot about that.
Oh, that thing was huge.
Someone just broke one for catfish. Some sort of catfish on the Connecticut River.
Yeah, it was a channel cat.
Then they need to update the state record
Well, it was
list.
just a couple weeks ago, so they're not gonna, or last week, so they're not gonna have it updated for another 2 years.
You're right. It was a channel catfish. Common carp. 35 pounds out of the frickin' Merrimack River in Manchester.
So the first time I ever went carp fishing, I went with this kid.
41
Why can I
pounds
not
with a
remember his
bow.
name?
Someone got a common carp with a bow. 41 pounds.
That's big.
Oh my God.
So he caught. Why can't I not remember his name?
Oh, you're talking about local?
Yes.
Yep, I remember you telling me about that.
So right before I had gotten there, he caught a 38-pound carp. Yeah.
Jesus.
Or the day before, sorry. And then he was down there again. We ended up meeting up. And he actually got me on my first carp, which was 18 pounds. And then he caught like another 20-something, like a high 20s. Absolutely ridiculous. 38 pounds.
That's insane. Dan, have a good night, buddy.
Bye, Dan.
Missouri state record striper, 65 pounds. Oh my God.
That's quite large.
I can't even wrap my
Say
head around
Missouri?
that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys have all sorts of crazy fish out there. What's your biggest flathead, if you've caught one? I want to know.
Tell me you're gonna log back in.
Oh my God. The biggest carp caught on a bow here was 76 pounds.
Dude. Like
grass carp too. That's pretty cool. That thing must have fought like crazy.
Like I've seen videos of bow fishing, right? Like, and imagine you see that, and like the size that thing must have been. Be like, yep, I'm still gonna stick an arrow through that with my tiny little reel, and I'm gonna hope to God I hold on.
Dude.
Woo!
I just on a kayak at that point, letting me tow me around.
A brush with life. If you're here, I'm gonna send that $5 back because I'm sorry we already did the raffle. So you were here late. That's my fault. I forgot to remove the pinned comment. So I'm gonna send that back. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. Issue refund. Look at that. See, I can do that right here, right now.
We're kind of off of the track of the fall fishing.
Yeah, but it's okay because we're answering good questions. Total refund.
We're just kind of shooting shit about state records of where you guys are from.
Yeah.
This is kind of fun.
Well, I'm also doing...
MD said keep it.
That's too late.
Too bad. Take it back.
Take it back.
Save it for next time. Save for next week. There's actually going to be another
You
raffle
want to
next
show
week.
everybody what we're going to do for the raffle next week? The only reason I ask you to do is because you're over there. So we have another big one from our buddy Nate, which he actually donated a bunch of rods that we gave away. That was last year. Last year in the summer. And he actually was able to, he just came over one day. He was like, hey, man, I got a bunch of stuff for you to donate for your next stream, too. So it's 4 Guggen boxes, but they're essentially the same as... Well, I was trying to figure out if they had a different name for the site. They're the same as
Bass
Plano
Mafia.
3700s.
They are Bass Mafia boxes with Guggen Squad.
Oh, yeah. But the same size as a Plano 3700, so it's a good size.
They are nice.
4 of them. We're going to give you all the containers with everything in there. That's going to raffle off. And he's got a bunch of stuff. They got
the nice seal on it, so your stuff's not going to get wet if it dumps overboard or anything.
4 snaps to hold it together. There's spinnerbaits, jerkbaits, square bills, underspins, bladed jigs.
Those jackhammers.
No, those are the Z-Man originals.
What else is in here?
Guggen Squad, square bills.
Whole bunch of frogs.
Ooh, look at that. Whole topwater case.
That's pretty sick.
And then just a bunch of jigs.
Holy
And they're all in,
crap.
like, everything in here is in good shape. So it's not like we're just giving you trash. I mean, some of it's used, but it was all donated.
Literally full of jigs. Like, this is probably, I'd say I don't even know what value this would be.
Well, I mean, it literally says $17.99 just for the case. So you get 4 of those.
Plus everything inside of them. So this is probably $200 worth of stuff right here.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Easily. So that's going to be next week's raffle. So you have something to look forward to. G. Hayes. All my fellow vets, Semper Fine, thank you for your service. Appreciate that, buddy. And then, what is it? Hope everyone enjoys donating their money next week when I win the raffle again. Alex, did you send me your address yet? Come on. Tell you what, last chance if you guys want to get any questions that we didn't cover yet as far as like talking over fall transition. Otherwise, we'll wrap this up and we will. I have a video that we're going to make for Friday. And I already forgot what I wanted to do. Ho hum.
Ho hum.
Ho hum. Oh, wait, no, I know what I wanted to do. Did you say Guggen, you dirty chat? Oh, wait. MD, I'll hit you up on IG. I'll send a couple of 6-kilo rods to raffle. Oh.
Ooh, okay.
Well, that could be interesting. Thank you.
I mean,
much appreciated.
We could make this a thing. Like, if you guys want to donate stuff, like send stuff to us to donate, we will absolutely do that. Like, if you don't have anybody you know that really needs things or wants things, like, send them to us and we'll donate them on the show.
My body's talking.
I'm screaming.
Did you eat dinner yet? Of course. Oh, just that address. All right. Thank you, Alec. Make sure we get that boxed up. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's right there. Alec's address, Chad, is at... 2 hours later, she's going to hear, Alec!
No, thank you. Oh, that's funny.
All right. Tell you what, we'll wrap it up from here. So next week, I have no idea what the hell we're going to talk about yet, but obviously we'll have something planned. I do have an idea for a video we're going to do this Friday. Hopefully we get something else to go up for Monday. Again, for everybody that's here that hasn't done so yet, please drop a like on the stream. I did post a regular fishing video on Monday that was definitely low on views, which it is what it is. If it's because you didn't see it, not that you didn't watch it, I implore you to please turn on post notifications if you haven't done that yet. That way you literally never miss anything that we upload. Dropping likes on everything, sharing videos, like it all helps so much. So for everybody that's continuing to do that, I cannot thank you enough for how much that you do to help us out. Aside from that, thank you to everybody that donated, got in on the waffle, the whole 9 yards. We're going to have all that stuff for next week. And I might be able to sweeten the pot with some more stuff too.
I may have another smaller, like a small glide giveaway. The bluegill glide that I bought. And I just literally have never thrown it. So maybe I'll bring that in next week. Or the week after. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. I like it. We should. Maybe I've got a couple of those giant defiant swim baits too.
Yeah, but
I bought 2. I only need
I want to buy
one
one off you.
You just throw it.
Why don't I just buy it off you?
Just
If
throw
you're
it.
going to get rid of it.
Just throw it.
Okay.
Anytime you want, just throw it.
Okay.
Anything in my boat, you can throw it anytime.
I know.
So anyway, that's the plan for next week. Thank you all very much, Andrew. Send her off.
See you by 8 o'clock every weekend. Just kidding, not the weekend, not even close. The middle of the week on Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/603bass. And you can find us on YouTube.
And Instagram.
And Twitter. No, do you still have Twitter?
Nah, fuck Twitter.
Yeah. TikTok.
Fishbrain.
And we will see you guys
Don't
next
trust
week.
any of the locations I put on Fishbrain.
He's cheeky like that.
Have a good night, everybody.